All right, welcome back. This is a great start. So, welcome back, Universe to Off the Rails podcast. This week we have a very special guest. We have Mark Metcalf in the studio, and it is our 3-year anniversary. Woo! All right, happy 3 years. We're like a bad disease. You just can't get rid of us. We're around for the long haul. So, let's get going with the bad joke monologue. People have stopped counting up on their ages due to being robbed of this year because of the coronavirus. So technically, I'm still 35, proving once again that you should always trust the science unless you don't want to. Nothing? All right, William's doing something over there. Berlin bans a Nazi vegan chef, rally, and conspiracy theorist Attila Hildmann. They said if he takes a bite of Schweinbraten, he can have a rally. Which means they were pissed off about the vegan part. So Attila said, let's compromise. Can I have the pudding? And we said, we told you 1,000 times, you can't have your pudding if you don't eat your meat. William, you didn't like that one? All right, fine. Germany is on lockdown, but schools are open because they are done with Stalingrads. Anything? I earned one there. All right, want to hear some good news about COVID?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. That was it. What is going on? There's no energy here today.
What?
All right, they are selling fake negative COVID tests so you can now board flights to enter certain countries. They are in aisle 6 behind the empty condom packages and the paid child support receipts. You don't pay for empty condom packages. You just flash a chicken ramen flavor packet and she won't know the difference. All right, Wisconsin news. Dieter Strum from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, builds the first jet engine-powered wheel of cheese called the Cheesinator. He later crashed into a brick wall at the speed of sound, and all that was left was debris. William, nothing? Okay. Research from Washington University concludes people who smoke marijuana have better sex. Why'd you spend all that money when you could have just asked off the rails?
Oh,
there you go.
Wow, William.
You're killing me today. I like him when Molly's working that. We're going to switch this back up. On other weed news, New Zealand votes to legalize euthanasia, but votes to ban marijuana. They stated that weed is a depressant and a hallucinogen, so you might end up killing yourself, and we wouldn't want that. I'm dying.
That's very funny, Joe.
Because Molly lost my good monologue last week. I just have no steam left for this one.
We fixed it.
All right. Ireland.
Do you have a day job?
Yes, I do. But I got to bed around 2 writing that joke. Should have stayed up till 4. Ireland, Scotland, and Nottingham have shut back down to tier 3, which means the pubs are closed. So in the words of the late, great John Belushi, they took the bar, the whole fucking bar. All right, William's going to clean up this mess, so here he is.
I'm just sitting here watching Mark's face. So that's the feedback I'm getting.
All right, here we go. So listen, I am super excited to have Mark Metcalf on today. I love his characters. When I watched Animal House, Mark Metcalf reminds me of my older brother, especially when he shut that door on Flounder. I can't tell you how many times my brother did that to me when I'm trying to enter his room, and I lived in that room. My brothers are a lot older than me. I come from a very large family. I'm the youngest of 7. And in my family, that simply meant that you got your ass kicked by everyone else in that house. I wasn't spoiled. So that's the way it was. So I walked in on my brother. He's 7 years older than me. I was 7. He was 14, and he was smoking a cigarette. And he told me, if you tell anyone, I'm going to whoop your ass. I'm like, hey, almost every day, all my life, you've been whooping my ass. I'll make a deal with you. How about I don't tell, and you don't whoop my ass? He goes, you got a deal. So 2 weeks went by. I didn't say a thing. And he says, hey, man, you're pretty cool. You know how to keep a secret. Do me a favor. Go to the store and buy me some cigarettes. It's like, damn. Now I'm roped into this. I'm complicit in his crime. If he gets caught, we both get in trouble. So he gave me $1 and I bought him back 3 packs of cigarettes. That's what it cost, 33 cents a pack. Every day, 7 years old, and they sold them to me. I'm buying 3 packs of cigarettes for years. So, of course, my brother died of lung cancer, and I somehow feel kind of partially responsible for it, but he used to kick my ass, so I guess we're even now. And that's what happens with big families. Over the years, they become smaller. And one by one, I watched my siblings depart this earth. And as of last October, I lost my last remaining sibling. I win. I win. And I got to be honest with you, my 2 remaining sisters are not going to like that joke. Wait for them to die before I tell that joke. They're liable to outlast me because I have been diagnosed with severe sleep apnea. I'll tell you how severe it is. They woke me up in the middle of the night and said, "Wake up. We thought we were going to lose you. We got to put you on oxygen." Like, that sounds serious, They told me, if you don't get this machine with oxygen, there's a very good chance you could have a heart attack or a stroke and die in your sleep. I was like, wow, die in my sleep? That is awesome. Who doesn't want to die in their sleep? How did you die? I don't know. I slept right through that shit. First he went to bed, then he woke up dead. He went peaceful. I don't want it to happen for a while, but that's where we stand. That's all I have for y'all today. Let's get the thing started.
Hello, universe. Welcome to Off the Rails with Tom and Mark.
Welcome back, universe, to Off the Rails podcast, episode 45, our first ever 45th episode, coming to you live from the Coldwell Banker Home Sale Realty Studios here in lovely Grafton, Wisconsin. And if you're looking to buy or sell a house, maybe interested in a career in real estate, maybe you need a house in Tuscany, Roy can find it for you. Roy at cbhsr.com, or give him a call, 414-235-0763. They'd love to be your go-to for all your real estate needs. And I'd love to welcome to the podcast for our 3-year anniversary special, Mr. Mark Metcalf. Hey, woo!
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
stopping in,
you
Mark.
very much.
Thank you. Sorry about my monologue. I told you it was the bad joke monologue. I was doing way too good for a while.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right on the mark. Those are bad jokes.
Bad joke monologue. What do you want?
Yeah, no, it's right. It's good to deliver what you promise.
Yeah, I'm a man of my words. You wanted bad jokes? Well, I didn't ask, so you're getting them anyway. So happy Halloween, All Hallows Eve, Hallow Mass Eve, All Saints Day, Sam Wayne, Day of the Dead tomorrow, and more importantly, happy 3-year anniversary, universe. Today we're going to celebrate with the legendary actor Mark Metcalf. You may know him as Niedermeyer, the Maestro, the Master in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Angel. He was also the dad from Twisted Sister videos. It's just an honor to have you here today. Thank you for coming in, but we got to do something to you. We do this with all the guests.
It's the hot seat! Wow, yeah! It's the hot seat! Hot seat!
Who is that? I don't listen to music since Beethoven died. Who is that?
All right, you are on the hot seat, Mr. Mark Metcalf. First question I got for you. What do you want to do with your life?
I've done it.
I was setting you up for I Want to Rock.
Oh, I want to rock. I want to rock. Sorry, I forgot my line.
All
I
right.
want to rock. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What was the best Halloween costume you ever wore?
The best Halloween costume I ever wore was a man walking on his hands. I cut out hands out of cardboard and put them on my feet, and I walked around with my arms up in the air with shoes in them. I also somehow managed to carry a tin cup with a hole cut in the top that said MS on it, and I got donations for MS. Now, luckily, nobody ever asked if they had being an honest Midwestern kid, I would have had to say the MS stands for my savings. But I collected probably $6 in nickels and dimes for MS.
Oh,
But
wow.
that was a costume. I made it myself. I had a pair of pants with my hands on shoes. It was good.
That reminds me. Now, I don't like to always talk about me, but I went as a headless guy one year.
Oh
And
yeah,
I had these big balloon things, and then there was no head.
right.
But I could kind of see through the veil. And the whole night I was like, guys, I don't feel so good. I kind of want to go home. And my ma and my girlfriend at the time were like, just stick it out. What are you doing? We're at a bar on Halloween. You're having fun. So at the end of the night, I took it off. And I guess there was like buckwheat that kept the weight of the balloons on my shoulder down. And I'm very allergic to it. I look like the end of Rocky. At the
Oh my
end.
God.
I almost died. And they're like, just keep partying. You're fine. So I don't know. That was kind of fun.
Just roll with it.
Yeah, just go. What are your thoughts on candy corn?
Where do I like candy corn?
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
I like it. I like it too much.
I'm a candy corn fan too.
Yeah, I like it. How do you eat it?
I mean, it's too sweet for me. I liked it when I was a kid, but it's just like it's pure sugar.
Hurts my
It's pure sugar. But now, how do you eat candy corn?
I bite the white tip off first,
Uh-huh.
and then the orange, and then the yellow. I eat it in 3 bites.
I do the yellow, then the white, then the orange.
Reversed.
Yeah.
We could Lady in the Tramp and meet in the orange.
The monologue's over. The monologue's over. You don't have to do any more bad jokes.
He wasn't joking.
Who's joking? That's
He's
over.
a big fan.
Where's the soundboard on that one?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna give myself one of them because that was a good one. What are some unwritten rules in the acting community?
Oh, unwritten rules in the acting community. Oh, well, it is sort of unwritten, but everybody knows it. You don't say the name of the Scottish play when you're in the theater. And since all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players, you don't say the name of the Scottish play anytime. A friend of mine in Milwaukee, actually, whenever you talk about the Scottish play, he says, "Oh, you mean Brigadoon?" But not Brigadoon.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by the Scottish play?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Where were you in English class? The Scottish play is a play about a man who sees some witches, a Shakespeare play. He sees some witches on his way home from fighting a battle, and they tell him that he will be the king at some point. Right now, he's just like an earl or a duke.
Okay.
And he goes home and tells his wife, and his wife gets very excited because she wants to be the queen. And they arrange to kill the king. And when he's visiting their house and they kill the king, they pin it on some other guys. Those guys run off. Do you know what play I'm talking about now?
King Lear?
No, just because I said king.
Sorry, I went to medical school. We were done with English. I'm more in the Latin.
Oh, no, the people who watch your show will know. I can't say it.
Oh, you can't say it.
No, I can't say it because I'm in the theater.
Okay.
So I can't say it. They'll figure it out though.
You're asking him to break one of the cardinal rules?
I didn't know it was a
Man,
cardinal rule. He
man.
just told me.
We're starting off
You know
rough.
what you have to do if you say the name of the Scottish play in a theater?
What do you do?
You have to go outside. You have to run around the building 3 times saying, "Angels and ministers of grace defend us." And then you have to spit over your shoulder. And then you have to ask permission to be let back in.
Wow. I'm going to have to look that up. That's very interesting.
On it.
Yeah, it's good. I
Don't
want
say
to
it. We're in a theater too.
No, I'm not-
And this is
Yeah,
a big
you're
building.
here.
I don't know if you have the wind to.
Sounds
run
like a
around.
fraternity prank to me.
Yeah.
Do you know who Eric Bogosian is?
The
No.
name is
Okay.
familiar. Eric Bogosian.
Oh, I got it now. All right. All right. Your family gets a phone call that you have been arrested, and that's all the info they get. What do they think you did?
They probably think well, no, I can't say that.
Head.
Say anything.
Say it.
No, I don't know. They probably think, oh wow, we don't have to eat his food anymore, his cooking anymore. They probably think, yippee.
Yippee.
It's a bonus.
But what I think I did, I don't know. Probably. I don't know. Maybe they probably, if they call from the police call, they probably think I fell down and died.
Wait, he's alive. Okay, just let him hang out there.
He's alive and he's getting 3 meals a day.
One less thing to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one.
What's the first thing you notice about the ladies?
The first thing I notice about the ladies,
Yeah.
any
Women, I
particular
do.
ladies or just women in general?
Yeah.
When I see a woman,
Yes.
probably. Probably. It's probably a smile.
Smiles. I
Yeah.
always notice the eyes.
Eyes as well for me, because especially if you're getting eye contact, if you're not, then she's not interested.
I
Oh,
figured you would notice the medicine that the nurse is bringing you, so you know what time of day it is.
If they make eye contact, I automatically think I'm in love, and they're in love with me.
She wants me so bad.
Me too.
And we're all lying about the first thing we notice, of course, right?
All right. Speaking of pills, I give you one pill and it allows you to master any one skill. What skill would you love to master? Just take a pill and you can
Play the piano.
just instantly you're Mozart.
Yeah. I wouldn't even have to be Mozart. I could just be Glenn Gould. That would be fine.
I kind of want to be an artist. I envy all those people that can just draw beautifully, and I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. William, what do you want to do? Michael, one pill, anything.
Be funny.
Be funny?
Yeah.
All right.
I would say music to sing, to be able to sing.
Just belt out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No,
That's a pretty good one.
beta male stuff. Come on,
Jeez,
man.
in your face,
Who
man.
would you want to sing like if you could sing?
Yeah, you could be the
Probably
world's best yodeler.
I would say a rock star.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd want to sing like Nina Simone, I think.
Okay. How do you
You know
handle?
what I mean by the Scottish play Nina Simone does. Do you know Nina Simone?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Little past my time? Before my time?
Before your time.
Before my
Jazz.
time, okay.
Jazz.
How do you handle getting served bad food at a restaurant? What's your move? You get something that's terrible.
Well, if it's really terrible and tastes bad, like it's going to make me sick, I tell them to please take it back and that there's something wrong with the food. I pretty much eat anything, and so if I get mediocre food, just badly prepared or doesn't taste right, I'll just eat it and shut up.
Just eat.
I ran a restaurant for a while. I
Yeah, you
owned a
did.
restaurant for a while down in Mequon.
Loved your pot pies.
Huh?
I loved your pot pies.
Yeah, they were good pot pies. I don't know. I think they still do them. I don't know. That was one of my ideas, and I really liked them. Libby, Montana, in case anybody
Nope.
goes down to Grafton.
I played
Okay,
volleyball
goes down to
down there a
Mecca.
lot.
The Reuben Rolls were my favorite.
Which one?
The Reuben Rolls.
Oh, yeah, the Reuben Rolls are good.
Yep.
Had you ever had them before? Ever heard of Reuben Rolls before?
They got big, but you were doing them, I think, long before they got super popular.
Did we? Yeah, I don't know. I'd never heard of them. It was an interesting idea. Take a Reuben sandwich and stick it inside a wonton.
Heck yeah, and deep fried.
And you know, the Mustard Museum in, where's the Mount Horeb? The Mustard Museum in Mount Horeb came to us and asked if they could put the mustard sauce that came with the Reuben Rolls in their museum. And Libby, my ex-wife, who owned the restaurant with me, we were married at the time, wouldn't let them do it because she didn't want to give the recipe away because it was a secret recipe. And I thought, how cool to be in the Mustard Museum.
Wow.
I mean, the next best thing would be in the Spam Museum.
All right, I got one more weird question for you.
Okay.
I
Glad you're back, Molly. I'm glad I can see you again.
Thanks.
Yep.
Sorry, my computer was being weird.
drop off a gift for you, and it is a pygmy elephant at your place. And the cops say, well, that's a Mark problem now. What are you going to do with it?
Where's the pygmy elephant? We'll feed it and feed it, whatever you do with an elephant. I'd feed it and take it for walks and let little kids ride on it.
There you go.
Little kids could ride on it. Pygmy elephants are cool.
Yeah.
They have hair, most of them. Whereas big elephants, they have hair too, but you don't see it. But pygmy elephants you can see the hair. Yeah, I like it.
And then we're gonna be like, Mark, we gotta talk about the elephant in the room. You brought it in the house, man. The actual elephant in the room.
Literally.
Where's the slow rim shot on
Right,
that one?
the bad joke.
Oh,
monologue.
God, I am
And
just
it continues.
off my game. You guys are.
Ron,
You guys in a good mood? You get enough sleep? Were you too excited? What's going on?
Completely.
Normally these hit home.
Ron
Okay.
says
You don't have one of those machines where you just hit a button and you get a rim shot, do you?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Actually, we've got a
You
jazz
do? Oh,
in
good.
the back.
All right. Announcements. We will be joining the Big Laugh Comedy Network coming up real soon. Going to be a big move to Roku and Amazon Fire Stick. Don't worry, we'll still be here. Nothing else is changing. We're just adding more spots you can find us. Check out Are You Triggered Yet? We will be filming an episode later tonight. Come downtown Grafton. We'll be there. Check out Pop Culture Weekly. We have tons of amazing people in the film industry on there. Molly and I are now assistant directors at Twisted Dreams Film Festival. Mark, we got to talk about that too. Twisted Dreams Film Festival. Maybe we can get your movie in there. We are
Sure.
expanding. Michael, you want to tease what you've been up to?
We've been working on a series for a 90s Wisconsin band, the Guffs. We've been doing recording every week, kind of reviewing their 30 years of music and history and all the albums. And at the end of it, they play one of the songs off the album. Just put out our first episode this week. So look for more of that coming along at you shortly.
Excellent. And tonight we're going to do a paranormal investigation after Are You Triggered Yet? We're going to be at the Art Smell with a couple paranormal investigation teams, Insane Asylum and Christopher House and his wife are going to be there. So it's going to be a blast tonight. We got a lot going on.
Busy.
So, all right.
Hey, can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Heck yeah.
Where are you? You look like you're in a bunker somewhere.
We're in Grafton, Wisconsin.
I know you're in Grafton, Wisconsin, and I know where Grafton is. I used to go up there all the time to go to Costco and there used to be a good Mexican restaurant up there.
Lobos?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lobos is still around.
It's right down the road from where we are right now.
Yeah. We're in the North Shore Academy of the Arts. It's an old school.
How come Molly has to sit outside if you guys are down in the bunker?
Because I've got a green screen behind me otherwise. And
Oh, okay. So you're not really outside.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a picture from our backyard this summer.
Oh,
So and this is just a set that Tom built. So it's upgrade from what was here previously.
Yeah, which was just a bookshelf. So
And I added an extra prop for your appearance today. So I'm keeping the crease back here. These are my pants that
Oh,
are hanging
nice.
out back here.
oh, good. Are you? Let me see your boxer shorts.
I don't think anyone wants to see that.
Yeah, to make the bit real, you should have been sitting there in your boxers.
Well,
man.
I was gonna ask William if you would do it when you got up to go over to do the bad jokes.
Just have the
If you put your pants back on before you walked over there.
I did I hosted some radio awards thing down in Milwaukee at Potawatomi one time, and I went on stage in my boxer shorts, and my pants were left them off stage, and I went, oh, I forgot. But I wore American Charlie Sykes. Remember Charlie Sykes?
Yeah.
I remember.
He was in the audience, and I wore American flag boxer shorts. And I said, well, at least I've got my American flag boxer shorts. I did this for you, Charlie. And then I had the woman off stage bring my pants back on and put them on. But
She put them on you?
no, I put them on myself.
The big question is, was the crease still intact?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I had them. They were hanging on a nice hanger.
Who did he say he learned that from?
Leonard
Leonard
Bernstein.
Bernstein.
Leonard Bernstein taught you that.
Yeah, no, I taught Lenny that.
Lenny. So the maestro.
That's right. And thank you for calling me Maestro.
There we go. You said in some of our correspondence that you aren't a funny guy. You'd leave it up to us, which maybe you shouldn't have. But how do you end up in all these hilarious roles?
Probably because I'm maybe like Margaret Dumont, the woman who was in all those Marx Brothers movies, who, according to legend, never got the joke. She was just totally a straight person. She was a very wealthy woman and who had become an actress, the legend is that she didn't know what was going on. But Groucho tells a story about how where were they? Oh, they were in a room together, all together, waiting for something. And Harpo turned the lights out, and while the lights were out, they all took off their clothes and were totally naked. And they went and sat back down in the same chairs, the same way they were. And then the lights went back on, and Margaret Dumont looked at them, and without breaking a smile or anything, said, "I never did understand your humor." So I think that's why I end up in all those movies, because I just don't get it. Everybody's being funny around me, and I'm straight. I'm the straight guy.
Yeah. Well, everybody needs that, right?
What?
Otherwise, the comedies don't work if you don't have like a Jerry Seinfeld to be the straight guy.
Right.
You can't just have a show around Kramer. It would get old.
They try.
Right. Yeah, you can see Jerry breaking up all the time because he's so appreciative of these good actors, these funny people.
Yeah, that's all you need. You see, you get good people around you. I don't even have to be good. I can just do my crappy monologue. And
yeah, you've got Ted Baxter over there right across the table from you, and you've got your Mary Tyler Moore there, Molly. You've got you're Ed Asner.
I like how I'm doing that.
Lou Grant.
So, William, you had a question about Animal House that you were.
Yeah,
you
well, first off, even though you're a complete jerk in the Animal House,
Excuse me?
nice.
Wait a minute. Excuse me?
You were a complete jerk in Animal House. You dress nice.
Yeah, wait a minute. I agreed to be on your show because I thought you were going to be nice.
Way to go, William. Maybe I shouldn't let
No, that
these
was
guys
the
go.
character, not you. The character was a complete jerk.
Niedermeyer.
I have to disagree.
Do you?
Oh,
Go
let's
ahead,
hear
do
this.
tell.
Yeah,
Let's hear.
That's good. Shut him down.
Oh, he was the Law and Order guy. He was the Nixon Republican. He was the he stood for what's right. He's who we want to be.
Okay.
Do you all want to be fat, drunk, and stupid the rest of your life?
That's no way to go through life, William.
That's no way to go through life. Okay, I'll give you that.
Kevin Bacon wasn't enjoying them with the paddle.
Yeah, that was kind of sadistic.
Hey, no, Kevin Bacon actually really did enjoy that a lot. We took it was a very low budget movie, so we only did like 3 or 4 takes of everything, 2 takes if you could get away with it. But that scene, Landis said we did 18 takes of me spanking Kevin Bacon with the paddle, only because Landis so enjoyed seeing Kevin Bacon get spanked. And he didn't stuff his tidy whities or anything like that.
How hard were you giving it to him?
Well, I wasn't giving it to him as hard as I could, but I was giving it to him pretty hard.
Oh, I thought that was just security cam footage that they threw in there.
Well, if Niedermeyer doesn't get killed in Vietnam by his own troops, what happens when he comes back from Vietnam? What type of work does he do?
Well, I've actually brought him back a couple of times. I probably shouldn't have, but in the Twisted Sister video, for one, he came back and he's a father. And she refers to me in the monologue at the beginning when we're sitting around in the first video, when we're sitting around the table eating carrots and mashed potatoes. She calls me Dougie C. So it's still Niedermeyer. And then I made another movie with Landis with John called The Stupids. And I played a colonel who was selling, a rogue colonel, army colonel, who was selling arms to terrorists. And we never referred to him as anything other than the colonel in the text, but my name tag said Niedermeyer. So my backstory, being a method actor and having to answer your question for myself in those 2 other things, was that he was severely wounded. They thought he was dead. He went upriver and lived with Kurtz for a while in Cambodia. Yeah. Kurtz from, this is all going right. You guys
I got that.
Too young. Apocalypse Now?
Apocalypse Now.
Okay. He lived with Kurt for a while, and then he built himself a raft, paddled back over to the United States, re-enlisted, worked his way up to colonel, and that's the story, if you believe that.
I do.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
did.
you're a fine prosecutor.
What?
I think you were a great, fine prosecutor.
That was
like when they had the meeting and you had it all laid out to have them all, disbarred or whatever you call them, thrown out.
Thrown out of, yeah, they'd have them expelled from campus or tossed off, expelled from college. Yeah.
It is different looking at it through the eyes of Niedermeyer. Those guys were troublemakers.
I think Niedermeyer's role should have been expanded. I mean, like the Pinto character. I mean, come on, what is that guy going on to do? Oh yeah, Academy Award nomination for Amadeus.
Did you do your own stunts? So the scene where the golf ball hits the horse in the ass and falls off.
No, I wanted to, but they didn't want me to because I had to shoot some more. And a guy named Gary McClarty did it. And he, when a horse runs on a wet field or wet, it to maintain its balance better, it lowers its center of gravity, so it takes a longer stride and stretches out more, which made the drag really dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And McClarty took me into it after he'd done it, and you can see he's got his legs crossed and he's staying as far away from the horse as he can, as much as he can control where he is. And he took me in afterwards, and he was padded from neck down all the way to his ankles. But he took off his pants and he showed me right on his buttocks, on his right buttocks, there was a bruise that was like a tattoo of a horse's hoof.
Oh,
The
wow.
horse had hit him so hard and sudden. So I was glad I didn't do it. But I wanted to be
beautiful
the
horse.
guy who sits in the bar and says, "Oh yeah, I do all my own stunts." Sure.
You know the scene with the dead horse and the guy's out there and he's measuring the length of the horse,
Yeah.
and then the starting up the
chainsaw.
chainsaw, and I'm thinking, why don't they just turn the horse and bring it straight out? It's like the width of the horse would have fit through there. I didn't understand that part of it.
It's part of the
Well,
It bothered me.
It's a good thing you've got a day job too, because that's what makes it funny.
Okay.
It was meant to be funny.
You do have a day job, don't you?
I do.
Good, good.
I work down, 26 years I've been in my day job.
He's Milton from Office Space.
You should have said no. I'm a stand-up comic.
Well, I do that as well.
Are any of you guys in a band?
no.
No,
No. Okay.
no, we can't sing.
Not a whole lot of talent over here.
Well, you don't have to sing. You can play the guitar. You can play the drums. You can just
I
take
play the
drums.
drums. Yep.
A band
We
would
should start a band.
hand me the tambourine and say, "Have fun, Tom."
I was in a band in college, but that was pretty short lived.
What was the band called?
Okay, wait, I also want to mention the women that were in Animal House. The Mandy Pepperidge, the blonde, the naked scene,
Mary Louise Weller, right?
Mary Louise Weller, but Karen Allen was my favorite. Like I fell in love with that girl. I mean,
Yeah.
all the other movies that I've seen her. How is she doing these days? Have you ever talked to her?
Oh yeah, I talked to her not every day, not a lot, but I talked to her a couple of times a year. She's doing great. She lives in western Massachusetts, like Pittsfield, around there. And she went back to school. She still acts. She still does. She's got, I think, 3 movie credits for 2020 already. I think low budget independent stuff that probably you won't see unless you go to film festivals. But she went back to Fashion Institute of Technology and learned how to weave and bought these Japanese looms. And she has a business where she makes scarves and hats and sweaters out of this beautiful wool with this very finely woven using these looms. It's really beautiful, very expensive stuff. You can, if you, I can't remember what the company's called, but anyway, but you can Google it and you find it and you buy presents for all the people in your life for Christmas.
We can afford it.
Coming up.
You see how our comedy career is going? Maybe we should get a different job.
Hey, when we hang up here, I'll send you my address and you can send me a sample for Christmas, right? Send us all, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
So she got married to Indiana Jones.
And they had
married
Shia LaBeouf.
Yep.
Yeah.
She did.
So how'd you get connected with Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld to do the Maestro role? 'Cause that's
I
very
I
kinda cool.
auditioned. That's what actors do. They audition for parts. And my agent sent me to an audition. There were probably 500 people that auditioned, and they liked it enough that they had me back for another audition. I was living about 55 miles up the coast in Oxnard at the time, or near Oxnard. And so it was a long drive down, hour and a half drive down to audition. I was kind of out of the business. I'd kind of said my son had been born, so I was spending a lot of time raising him. And I went back for another audition. I think I went in on a Wednesday, and then they called me back on a Friday. And I thought they'd let me know because I knew they started shooting on or working on Monday. And then they called me on Saturday, and they wanted me to come back one more time. So I went back on Sunday, and they'd whittled it down from 500 to about maybe 5 people by Sunday. And I auditioned again and had a conversation with Larry and a conversation with Jerry, and all the writers were in the room. And I went home, not by this time, after 3 callbacks, not even caring. I didn't want to make the drive again. But I got a call later that night, said, be here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I went, and you got the part. So I went in and did it. But that's how actors, schlubby actors like me, I'm just a journeyman actor. I just do it. It's a job for me. I work. And we audition. They don't call us and say, oh, please get over here. We'll give you millions of dollars. They just say, could you come and audition? And if you're good enough, you can, we'll pay you scale, $1.75 an hour.
Oh, wow.
The maestro appears in 2 episodes.
Yeah, you must have nailed it.
And it's crazy because it's such an iconic role that you instantly remember it. You ask anyone who the maestro is, and they automatically know exactly what you're talking about. And for a show that spanned 9 years,
Mhm.
For two episodes, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. Because my wife doesn't watch Seinfeld, and I told her who we were talking to, and I mentioned the maestro. She said, "Oh yeah, I know who the maestro is," and everyone does.
Oh,
Well, and if anybody accidentally referred to you as Bob Cobb, just the reaction, it was right.
I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name,
William.
But you referred to one character that I played as a jerk, and now you've.
Oh,
William, you're on strike 2, buddy.
Is he necessary?
No, he's not. You don't even need to be here.
Listen,
Is there a latrine that needs emptying or something like that? Another job.
Go empty the popcorn machine,
I
dude.
actually wanted to see the reaction when you hear that, because it took about 2 seconds for you to gently let these people know you're the maestro.
I want to see the reaction when I stab you with a knife. You don't just get to do what you want.
So right now, anyone who hasn't watched the episode, we'll see Tom later in the day. How did it go? Well, William ran off Mark Metcalf.
Yeah. I bombed the
maestro.
He called him a jerk and Bob Cobb. I mean, come on.
called him a jerk and Bob Cobb.
You were such a gentleman. I mean, like, you kissed Elaine's hand, you kissed George's mom's hand in that other episode. Let me ask you this about the hand kissing thing, and now in these days with the Me Too movement, do you think that's still acceptable behavior for a man to kiss a woman's hand?
Ooh, no.
Yeah, I think you have to know whose hand you're kissing and know that they'll take it you have to assess the situation. I mean, you have
Maybe
to know
go
who you're
slower than the past to give her an out.
Well, but listen, I mean, if you've ever had your hand kissed, it's unsettling. I did a show and I'm shaking hands with people, and a lady comes by and grabs my hand and kisses it, or should I say, a drunken woman slobbered on the back of my hand. It was, whoa. And then her husband's standing right behind her, and I shrugged my shoulders. I was like, ooh, I think I would never kiss a woman's hand. And that was my go-to move when I was in middle school. I would kiss a lady's hand. I thought it was smooth. But like when she slobbered on the back of my hand, I'm like, I'll never do that again.
If you're a maestro, you can kiss a woman.
Maestro, of course.
And the real formal kiss on the back of the hand, the lips barely touch the hand, if at all. It's just, It's like an air kiss.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as you feel hair.
It's a gesture. It's a gesture.
Yeah, but you got to make out with Elaine. How great was that?
It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Good kisser.
And you were getting paid for it. How awesome is that?
That's right.
I didn't like that take. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. I just didn't feel it right. Let's take a couple more takes.
We had to, well, actually it's live, so we didn't have to do takes. Although you shoot it twice. You shoot it once, and then they take that audience out. You get some notes, and you go back and shoot it again, and then you shoot scenes that didn't work, but we did rehearse it a lot.
Well, the maestro was pretty smooth because you met her in Seinfeld's apartment, and the next thing you know, you guys are out to dinner, and she mentions the name. I'm not going to say it again.
Thank
and
you.
then you gently tell her, and then to have the conversation about, well, I'm sure Lenny. They called him Lenny. You're like, no, I know for a fact that in private conversation he was known as the maestro. And then she's like, okay, she went along with it. And dude, that takes some force because Elaine's got a mind of her own, but she's like, yeah, okay. And she called you the maestro.
Well, if you watch the show for all 9 years, you'll also remember that Elaine was what we used to say. We used to refer to women. She's easy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like yada yada yada.
Or the other way we referred to it, she was a lot of fun. So of course. And that was when was that? The 90s, I guess.
Yeah.
The 90s, people were still, you could go out on the first date.
Yeah.
So how much interaction did you have with Jerry Stiller during, especially the scene where you're in Kramer's old room, or George's old room, I'm sorry, and when they turned it into the billiards parlor? I mean,
The place to be.
the place. That's right, the place to be. When they came down into your office and sold you on that, I mean, but I don't know how I could keep a straight face with having Michael, and Jerry Stiller in the same room. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
you're in your boxer
in your
shorts,
boxers, right?
and the lady walks in. George's mom walks in with some refreshments and sees you guys in your boxers.
And Kramer's leaning
And
over.
Kramer's
Yeah.
leaning over, and she's, oh my God, like, what did she walk in on? Oh my God. We needed more maestro. I wish they would have expanded your role. And I mean, like, cut down like Tim Watley's role. What did that guy go on to do? Oh yeah, Breaking Bad and another Academy Award nomination. You work with some great people.
Oh yeah. Well, it's really, the writing on the Maestro was really good. And the writers came up to me when I first came in and said, excuse me, said this is one of our favorite characters. And they may say that to everybody. I mean, in terms of, as what you were saying before, the Maestro being in only 2 episodes but being iconic,
Mhm.
the Soup Nazi is only in 1 episode.
Oh yeah.
That's true.
And everybody knows who the Soup Nazi is.
Did you know you were getting a second episode, or did they write that because you nailed it so hard the first time?
As far as I know, they liked what I did, so they wrote another episode and brought me back.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Getting the second. A lot of those characters only get the one-off episode, but you can be like, no,
And remember the episode that ended the whole thing?
Yes.
When the whole series went off, when they were in jail in Vermont or New Hampshire or somewhere like that. They called me and said, we really wanted to have you in this episode, but everybody that's in it are people that they got over on, that they treated really badly, and they never did that to you. So we can't there's no way we can fit the Maestro in.
well, when they showed up in Tuscany, that kind of pissed you off.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. They've proven
Kramer
why
and
you didn't
Jerry.
want them there. That
Right.
was the great end of the episode because y'all are enjoying the Tuscany. You stand in front of the window, and then you hear this racket going on outside, and
I
it's
know.
Kramer and Jerry falling out of a cab, arguing.
And Kramer, who doesn't know how to talk softly,
No.
and they have to be right across the street. The part that you don't see in the scene that was cut was when I have them removed from Italy altogether.
Oh, that would have been great. Oh my God.
Maestro's got some pull in
It
Italy.
does.
That's right. It's all family, we know each other.
Yeah.
In
The
all of
house-
Tuscany, not one place to rent. How did
Nothing
you find
there.
yours?
Sorry.
Passed down from generation to generation.
lucky.
I got lucky.
You got lucky.
We've never seen the show, as you can tell. No.
Obviously. Right.
Our comedy is better when we just repeat what Jerry Seinfeld
Somebody
did.
else's stuff,
Somebody
right.
else's stuff. We're way better than writing our own stuff.
Well, you're working with good writers, professional writers. Yeah.
You saw what I wrote
And that's what we got to work with every week. No.
every week. But the one that got deleted was freaking awesome.
Yeah, being thrown out of Italy. How great would that have been?
Oh yeah. So did Dee Snider or who came up to you for the Twisted Sister videos?
I was living in Lower East Side, where I lived all the time. I lived in Manhattan. I lived on Lower East Side in St. Mark's between First and A. I didn't even have a TV. I was doing a play. I got a phone call from, I guess from D probably, saying that they were doing this video, and I didn't even know what a music video was. I didn't know what MTV was. And they're shooting it in California. And he asked me if I would come do it. And I said, well, I don't do this for fun. This is a job. And they said, oh, we'll pay you. They ended up paying me a day's pay, Screen Actors Guild minimum, like $300. But they flew me out there, and I needed to go to LA because I had a girl, some stuff left at an old girlfriend's house out there. I needed to pick that up. And I was doing a play. I wanted to get away for a couple of days. They flew me out on a Sunday night, flew me back. We shot on, I guess we must have shot on Tuesday, and they flew me back Tuesday night so I could do the play on Wednesday. Flew me on the red eye. And when I got off the plane, the first time I saw D was when I got off the plane in LA, and he picked me up. And there's this big, ugly guy with long blonde hair, and he's a big guy who's just happier than a big Labrador puppy to see me. And he's got a sign up that says Mark Metcalf, and he rides me. He gives me a ride in the Datsun that he had rented, or whatever it was, and takes me to where I'm going to be staying, which was on the couch at Marty Callner's house, the director. So it was really, really low budget stuff, but it didn't matter. I was young. It didn't matter. They were nice. They were fun. They were funny. But on the way in, driving in, he told me what they were going to try to do, this kind of Roadrunner cartoon thing but I have to write. He said, but you've got to write this monologue at the beginning, because the whole thing is going to open with you yelling at your son. And the only thing you've got to do is finish the monologue by saying, what do you want to do with your life? The rest of it, you just go on and on. So I went and found a friend of mine named Rex Weiner, who had created a character named Ford Fairlane, who's a writer. And he and I sat around and drank a lot of beer and wrote that whole monologue that I do. His best line was, I carried an M16 in the war, and you carried that electric twanger.
I love that line.
But that was it. I mean, I don't know how they found me.
You were taking big bites of food in that. Were you just hungry? You really looked like you were.
They weren't paying me very much. They didn't give me per diem.
You were taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean that kind of catapulted them into stardom, and to think they only paid you.
Thank you. Okay, you're getting back in my good graces. I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you should have gotten residuals. I mean, you made that video.
Straight. Yeah. Why don't you call D and tell him that?
Give me his number. I'll give him a call.
Call him live on the air right now.
Let's call him.
I got letters from Screen Actors Guild saying we're going to throw you out of the union because you did a non-union gig. It wasn't a union gig.
Oh wow!
Don't do it again. And I got letters from Universal Studios saying we own that character. You don't own that character. We own it. You can't do that character.
But it wasn't necessarily Niedermeyer.
It was loosely kind of based on it, but you wrote your own thing. It wasn't from Animal House.
Yeah, but I paraphrased a lot of their lines too.
Okay.
Because that's what they wanted. They had loved Niedermeyer. They were a bar band on Long Island and up and down the Hudson River, and they did lines from the show, from Niedermeyer's lines in their show all the time, and they really loved him. So when Atlantic Records said, "Here's $800,000, make a video. We're going to turn you into stars," they said, "Let's get Niedermeyer."
And we only have $799,700 left because we paid him $300.
Yeah, that's not fair. I don't think they were fair to you at all. Absolutely.
No. I did because they got money every time the thing played, and it played on MTV. It played like every 5 minutes for a while. It played on radio stations all over using my voice, and every time it played, because of ASCAP, they got money. And I got nothing.
So how'd you get into the
I got
second
a little
video?
violin I can play too.
Yeah.
Plus, you got in trouble with the Screen Actors
And I
Guild.
got in trouble. And then they asked me to do it again, and I said, sure.
Yes.
But, and in Dee Snider's biography, if you've ever read his biography, you'll be the second person that's read it. He says that I was a bit of a prima donna on the second one because I asked for more money. They paid me $900 for the second one. They tripled my pay.
Dude's a millionaire. What's $900 to him?
I know they're all living in big houses in Long Island by this time with indoor pools and gyms and everything like that. And I'm still
off in
in East Village.
Oh, that's
And it wasn't even his money. That's
That
the thing.
monologue at the beginning of that first video is kind of what made that video so
It
great.
made it. It
Like,
made it.
If they hadn't had you doing that, it might not have rocketed them to where they are now.
Yeah,
Come on.
I kind of agree with you, but I'm a
Why
nice
didn't
guy.
you just give you a solid grand? Why? Who gives $900?
At least you should have got a piece of every time that thing played. You should have got a piece of that. You made that video.
I get checks now in some universe that they've created since we made it. There is intellectual property money that goes into a fund, and I get a piece of that every year. I get a check, and it's not a bad check. It's like $2,000 or something like that. At least that's been the case the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know how long it'll last, but they did invite me to. They're nice guys. They're great guys. JJ French, I really like, and D is a good guy too. I don't know that he likes me very much, but
Well, you asked for triple your money. I mean,
I know.
I don't know.
I think he is.
But they asked me to. When the record went platinum, when the album went platinum, they called me and said, "Listen, we're doing a gig at Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, and we'd like you to come out. We'll send a limo for you, and we'd like you to come out and come on stage and deliver and give us the platinum record." So I said, sure. I thought, this is rock and roll. This is great. There's going to be girls. There's going to be drugs. There's going to be alcohol.
Mhm.
A limo. Let's go. And they're like Mormons, though. They don't drink coffee. They don't drink beer. They don't drink anything before a show. They're really clean. They're really professional. And I went on, and it was fun to go on stage in front of 19,000 people who, when they're going, kill him, kill him, kill him, or whatever it is they were chanting when I went on, you can feel the breath. You can feel that air against your body, which is really it's very sexy. I understand why people want to be rock and roll stars, because there's just all those fans are and they threw all kinds of stuff at me, including an entire pizza in the box. So we just took it out and ate it on stage.
Oh, that's awesome. At least there wasn't pineapple on it or something. That'd have been a
Well,
real.
just a cheese pizza. It wasn't very good, really. Long Island pizza's a little greasy.
Yeah. So, what role are you most known for nowadays? What do people scream to you? Maestro, Niedermeyer, the Master?
It depends on where I am. When I was living in Milwaukee, it was primarily, well, I don't know, it was sort of split evenly between Niedermeyer and the Maestro.
Mhm.
And there was people didn't recognize me as the Master, luckily, because it was 5 hours worth of makeup, and it really would depress me if people said, "Didn't you play?" You look just like the guy who played the Master in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'd have to go to bed for a while. But it depends on where I am. You know, at OSU, when I was living in Columbus, Ohio, it's Ohio State University. They take almost as much pride in their drinking ability as they do at Madison, and so it was mostly Niedermeyer there. But it depends. Lately, I live in Portland, Oregon, and because it's COVID, I'm inside all the time, so I don't get recognized at all, and I miss it. It's kind of nice when people say, "You look like that guy." Somebody said, this happens a lot in different ways, but the most memorable one is somebody came up to me in an airport and said, "Were you my second grade teacher?" Because people remember the face, but they don't know where they know it from.
We got a question from Ron here. He wants to know what it was like working with Joss Whedon.
With who?
He said Joss Whedon. Josh Whedon.
Joss Whedon. He's the guy who produced and directed and wrote Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It was great. Joss is a really smart guy. Really smart guy. And he's fun to work with, and he liked me, so that's how smart he was. No, so he was great to work with, and it was a fun character, and he encouraged me to take it as, to find humor in it, and to find the irony in it, find the real sort of the edge to it. It was fun, and he was very workable too, because he had conceived of the Master with kind of long, dark hair, sort of Keith Richardsy, maybe, sort of. Mm-hmm. And I said, couldn't we sort of hearken back to the vampire lore, to the original vampire, to Nosferatu? And that's why we do the shaved head, and that's why the look came up, because it's much more like Nosferatu than it is like a lot of other vampires. Like certainly more like Nosferatu than it is like Tom Cruise in that, or what's that guy that in the Twilight series. But yeah, so he was great. He was great. He was just, anybody's good. They're good if they work with you, if they listen to what you have to say and think about it and actually do it.
Now, how many? You're on like every episode on that, correct?
I wasn't on every. I think I was on 10 out of the 13 of the first season. Okay. So what do they do in between? Do they just send you home for a week or two, or? Oh no, we shot it all in LA. I would drive in, and because it took so long to put the makeup on, and that means they have to have 2 other people on the payroll. I mean, I did a couple of 22-hour days. Wow. Because I'd get there at 4:00 to put the makeup on in order to be in front of the camera by 10 o'clock. And then we'd work a 12-hour, 14-hour day, and then it takes an hour and a half to get it off. So it ends up being a long day. They would shoot everything of the Master in a 2-day period. I think one time I did a 3-day period. It was a big episode, so I worked 3 days, but it was all in a row. So I had to drive in 55 miles, as I said, from Oxnard when I was doing it. I was living up there still. I think I was. Yeah, I was. And so it was a long drive, but I did it in just 3 days. I didn't have to do the whole week. Was that your question? Yeah. I can't remember. Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it. So there was a couple of things you wanted to hit on before we cut this one. You're doing a short documentary is coming out in Waiwiga. Oh, yes. Waiwiga Film Festival, Waiwiga International Film Festival, where I was last year with a field called The Field, directed by Tate Bunker, who's a Wisconsin film director that I've worked with a couple of times. But this time it's a short documentary called Character that's playing there. And I think the dates for Waiwiga are the 11th through the 21st of November. What is it? 11th through the 21st of November. I got what you sent me, so I was just okay. Yeah, it's 11th through the 21st of November, exactly. And it's a great town. It's a really great festival. They put it on in this old movie theater that some people that I now know, Ian Teal and Kathy Fail, now I think they own it. And it's an old movie palace kind of thing from the days when there were movie palaces. And they put it on in there. It's a nice little town. It's in a great part of Wisconsin. It's close to Kakuna. It's close to Appleton. And I know Wisconsin loves taking the lead in strange things like binge drinking, the capital of the more binge drinking than any other, and COVID-19 now too. You guys seem to be very happy to be leading the nation in cases. Good, you got your mask. I got mine.
Keep it with me all the time.
Yep. Yeah, good for you over there. Wear a mask and vote.
Well, I want to find out a little bit more about this documentary. So, what is this about?
It's about me. It's really a woman. who's really become a good friend named Vera Brunner Sung. We made it. She's in Columbus. She teaches at Columbus. Teaches film at Columbus. We were introduced to each other by a friend of mine in Missoula, Montana, because she'd taught in Missoula before she moved to OSU. And so when I got to Columbus, I didn't know anybody, and I emailed her and said, I don't know anybody. Can we talk? And she said, sure. So we had coffee, and after the conversation, she said, I'd like to talk to you. She's wanted to direct a feature, and she is going to direct a feature in Montana. But she said, I've worked only in documentary. I don't know how to talk to actors. So I'd like to talk to you about talking about actors. So she recorded, we sat in a studio, not unlike your bunker there, and talked about, I thought it was going to be an hour, and we ended up talking for 5.5 hours because I talk a lot like I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And she just recorded it, no video at all, just audio. And a couple of days later, she called me and said, this is some really great stuff. I want to make a documentary about that. I can lift 17 to 20 minutes out of this 5.5 hours and give a through line. Will you let me put it together, what I want to do, and then listen to what I've got? And then you and I together can figure out how to shoot it, what video to put behind it, in front of it. So she did that. The whole process took more than a year. And so she picked out a thread, a through line, and it's basically, the through line is about the characters that I played, the ones you've talked about, Niedermeyer, the Maestro, and the Master, and my feeling about them as men, the kinds of men they are, and what it is that drives them and motivates them. And it also then it becomes about how I feel as though that typecast me. I allowed myself to be typecast. I made a slight reference earlier about I shouldn't have done that, but the Twisted Sister video, which is great, and everybody's seen it, and I'm really proud of it. It's really good work. And it's the one, I should tell this, it's the one piece of work that my father was ever proud of as an actor. He really thought it was a bad idea for me to be an actor. He was a Republican. The only reason he was proud of it, though, is because a neighbor of his read in the newspaper that during Tipper Gore's hearings on sex and violence and rock and roll, these two videos, one by Frank Zappa and one by Twisted Sister, starring with Mark Metcalf in it, had been played on the floor of the United States Senate. So my father, who never saw the video, because if he'd seen it, he would have hated it. But it was played in the Senate, and it was in the Senate record book. So my work is in the Senate record book somewhere buried in the Library of Congress. And he was very proud of that. So what was I saying? I interjected that between.
Oh, we were just talking about the film a little bit.
About what? Oh, character. Oh, so she takes that, and I probably shouldn't have done the Twisted Sister video because it just cemented in the limited imagination of people in Hollywood that's what I did. That became my niche. And the Stupids, I did the same thing because I love John Landis, and it was a funny character. But I often say to people, you should have seen my Romeo. And I did a very good Romeo in Riverside Park with Kate Burton. But so it's about that, and it's about me. I walked away from the business. I quit in 2000 and moved to Milwaukee, bought a restaurant with the woman I was married to, and didn't act anymore, except that a fellow named Rob Goodman, who ran First Stage Children's Theater, came to me. He knew who I was. He'd seen me work in New York in plays, and he came and asked me if I wanted to do a play at First Stage Children's Theater. And I said, I don't want to play children's theater, ghosts and goblins and stuff like that. I don't want to do that. I'm out of the business. And he said, read this script and then tell me. And the script was called Einstein, Hero of the Mind. And it took Einstein from the time he was 7 years old, when people thought he was retarded and couldn't speak and nonverbal, and took him all the way up through the bomb on Hiroshima and the 2 years after that, when Einstein spent almost every day in a rowboat in the lake at Princeton trying to figure out his culpability in that mass murder of the bomb on Hiroshima and the bomb on Nagasaki, because he had not worked on the project, but he had written a letter to Roosevelt saying, you need to develop this technology because the Germans are developing this technology. So he felt very culpable. And it did it with myself and a 14-year-old actress and 47 puppets. And it was one of the greatest experiences I've had in the theater, just working that way. And I sang and I danced, and it was a lot of fun. Plus, playing it in front of a live audience, which I'd been doing film and television almost exclusively for a number of years. And it reminded me of why I started acting, because of that connection, that immediate connection you get in a live theater with people, where you can smell them and they can smell you, and your senses are engaged. And as a friend of mine said about the theater, the difference between acting in the movies and acting in the theater is that in the theater you can be shot, and you can. And you can shoot them. It's scary. It's dangerous. It's right now, and then it's gone.
Yep.
Airy nothing.
Besides everything else, Mrs. Lincoln, did you enjoy the play?
Right. So anyway, did that answer your question? Sort of, yeah.
I believe so. And also wanted to let you know that this will be dropping on YouTube and everywhere else on Election Day. So Mark says, get out and vote.
Yes, vote, wear your mask, go. If you haven't early voted, I've already voted. Oregon's been doing vote by mail. Good for you. Yep. I like that mask too.
So listen, don't be an
Oregon's
asshole.
Been doing vote by mail for 3 decades, and it's very efficient. There's no fraud.
There you go.
All that stuff is nonsense. So vote early if you can.
And die trying to get the right to vote. So you look like an asshole if you don't do it.
I voted early last week. I went down to the Zeidler building, and there was no crowd, no audience. And I mean, we had different pens that we used to push the buttons, and we'd take a pencil and then put it in a container. And then when we signed it, we would take it from one area and then put it in another one to be decontaminated. The way they went about things, I thought they did a good job with it down here in Milwaukee.
Good. Yeah, they are. My ex-wife is running the polls in Fox Point, and they give them training on how to deal with, if anybody with rifles shows up, just stand around outside your polling place to intimidate, which may happen in places. They give them training on how to deal with that, and they're very careful. And how much energy does it take to wear a mask? How much energy does it take to wash your hands? I mean, it's not a big deal, and it's all about the other guy. And
yeah, definitely. Let's get out and vote. We'll remind you Tuesday morning when all our audio only listeners jump in, get out and vote and do it. And Mark, it has been an honor having you on today. Thank you so much. Molly, you have a little thing you want to share?
What?
Oh, our new little.
Yep. And remember, universe, it's hard to grow organically. So share this post. Just share it. So just share it, just vote. And Mark, thank you very much again. And remember, universe, we're not good enough.
Thanks for tuning in, universe.